Mike Daisey, the monologuist at the heart of the agony and ecstasy of Steve Jobs. Many people might believe that Steve, including myself actually, that Steve Jobs is one of the greatest Americans in history. He's great, of course, because of his ability to come back from failure, perhaps come back from sickness. Are you calling on him, if he happens to be watching this, are you calling on him to develop a third act in his life? Would that make him a really, truly great American?
Well, he's pretty great now. I mean, he's reinvented the dominant metaphor of our technology 3 times in his lifetime, and the rest of the tech industry has not done it at all. So, I mean, I feel where he sits, where he will eventually sit, you know, in 40 or 50 years, is very similar to the place that Edison sits, honestly. Like, I think that you cannot tell the history of computing without talking about Steve Jobs. In fact, I would argue you almost don't need to talk about anyone else. If you're actually talking about how the metaphor shifts, how we go into the first computers that are like electronic typewriters, how we move from that into a graphical user interface, how we evolve from that to touch computing, you almost don't need to talk about anyone else. I mean, that's an incredible shadow. That's true greatness. I do think, however, that like so many of us, like me, like I have myself, we have taken our eye off of the circumstances under which the things are made. In the pursuit of these very high ideals of beautiful devices that are so marvelous, we've lost touch with early ideals about humanism, about respect, about the idea that we should not injure and maim and abuse the people who make the work possible. And so I think none of the things I have to say change the fact that he's truly great, and nothing would please me more than the idea of him coming back in a third act to look at these things specifically. And I actually think it's a great opportunity for Apple. No other single company has the kind of mind share and has a user base that could care as much about these kind of concerns. It seems like exactly the kind of thing that he could help be an industry leader in. And I earnestly hope that that's something he would consider.
I know a number of people who have seen your monologue have written emails to Steve Jobs or to Apple, and he's responded. What has he said?
Probably he said a couple of short things, sent some links to Apple reports on their working conditions.
Has he denied your basic argument?
No, in fact, no, he hasn't, which I think is interesting. In response to one of the emails from one of the people who forwarded me the response from Steve, he said, I don't think Mike appreciates the complexities of the situation, which I think is a very telling statement. First of all, from Steve, who usually writes yes, no, and go away. So, I mean, this is like a book. Also, I think that it's the acknowledgement that there's a situation. It's not actually a denial that nothing is happening. You're acknowledging that there's a situation of some kind. I'm simply not appreciating its complexities. So I dream of a world where Apple would be willing to open its doors, be a little bit less like China, and explain to me the complexity of the situation. Like, I'll explain how I met all these 14 and 13 and 12-year-olds who work at the plants. And they can explain to me what complex situation makes that ethical. I would welcome that conversation.
Final question, Mike. 50, 100 years, historians are going to look back at our age and they're going to see a time where people were obsessed with their telephones, with the color of their telephones and the design of their telephones. In 50 or 100 years, what are people going to think of us?
It's hard to tell the future, but it's best when we look at the past. And we look 50 and 100 years ago, and we see a world dominated by political imperialism, where the first world created empires that exploited and abused the rest of the world to feed a sort of unnatural hunger. I don't know what they're going to say in 50 or 100 years, but I hope things can turn from where we are today, because I fear the story is not that different now, except that we use the third world through business to fulfill our hungers here. And my dream is that we can create a more nuanced answer to that question, that we could find a way that we begin to be conscious of the things we're actually doing. My fear is that the answer will be much the same.
So we need more complexity.
I don't know if we need more complexity or if we just need to open our eyes. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like all we really need to do is start to realize that every worker on the line working there for 12, 14, 15 hours a day to make sure we can get our next iPhone on time, they are actual people. Even if their standards of living are smaller and lower than ours, they are actual human beings that had mothers and fathers, and they have children. That simple act, if we actually believed and understood that, and understood that those people should be in a better world, those should be Apple employees as they make the devices. If we took that step, I think we'd be amazed at how differently things would look.